Have you ever wondered about what happens inside a pharmaceutical manufacturing facility before a medicine reaches you? For example, a tablet, a vial, or an injection may look simple when you use it in a pharmacy. But behind that product is a highly controlled process involving manufacturing, quality, clean rooms, sterile processing, testing, documentation, and strict GMP environment. And when you are dealing with sterile medicine, even a small mistake can have serious consequences. So, what really happens behind the scene? Let me show you. On this channel, we are going beyond the textbook. I will explain how pharmaceutical manufacturing actually works in the real world. We will talk about GMP, sterile manufacturing, aseptic filling, clean rooms, environment monitoring, water for injection, filtration, sterilization, lyophilization, validation, deviation, CAPA, critical parameters abbreviated as CPP, critical quality attributes, and many other important pharmaceutical topics. But that is not all. I shall talk about pharmaceutical career, interviews, professional development, and how you want to make career in US pharmaceutical industry and opportunities in the United States for pharmaceutical person.
When people hear the word pharmaceutical manufacturing, they may imagine workers simply mixing chemicals and putting medicines into bottles. In reality, pharmaceutical manufacturing is much more complicated. A pharmaceutical product has to be manufactured consistently, safely, and according to approved procedures and regulatory requirements. Every important part of the process is controlled. That can include raw materials, equipment, temperature, pressure, mixing, filtration, sterilization, environmental conditions, personnel practices, packaging, and finally, quality testing. One of the most interesting things about pharmaceutical manufacturing is that different medicines require completely different manufacturing approaches. For example, tablets and capsules are generally manufactured using processes such as blending, granulation, compression, and coating. But sterile injectable products are completely different. When you're manufacturing a sterile injectable product, contamination control becomes extremely critical. You may be dealing with clean rooms, HEPA filtration, environmental monitoring, sterile filtration, aseptic filling, personnel gowning, sterilization, and depending on the product and process, lyophilization. Let's talk about sterile manufacturing. If you are manufacturing a sterile injectable medicine, the product may ultimately be administered directly into a patient's body. That means microorganisms and other forms of contamination must be carefully controlled. This is why pharmaceutical manufacturers use highly controlled environments. For example, sterile manufacturing facilities can have different cleanroom classifications, controlled airflows, specialized equipment, strict gowning procedures, and environmental monitoring programs. The goal is not simply to make the product. The goal is to make the product consistently and safely. And this is where GMP becomes extremely important. GMP stands for Good Manufacturing Practice. You can think of GMP as a system that helps ensure medicines are consistently manufactured and controlled according to appropriate quality standards. But GMP is much more than paperwork. It affects almost everything inside a pharmaceutical facility. How equipment is operated, how materials are handled, how processes are documented, how deviations are investigated, how changes are controlled, how employees are trained, how cleaning is performed, and how the quality of the final product is evaluated. Another thing I want people, especially pharmacy students, to understand is that pharmaceutical manufacturing is a team effort. You can have pharmacists, production professionals, quality assurance, quality control, engineering, validation, regulatory affairs, maintenance, microbiology, research and development, supply chain, and many other professionals. All of these functions work together to make sure a pharmaceutical product can be manufactured and released appropriately. If you're a pharmacy student or pharmacist watching this and you're thinking, can I build a career outside of community or hospital pharmacy? The answer is absolutely yes. The pharmaceutical industry offers many career paths. For example, production, quality assurance, quality control, validation, regulatory affairs, research and development, manufacturing science and technology, process development, and many others. And that's one of the reasons I'm creating this channel. Going forward, I'm going to break these topics down into simple, practical videos. We'll talk about things like how aseptic filling works, how cleanrooms work, what grade A, B, C, and D areas mean, what WFI is, how environmental monitoring works, what media fills are, how deviations are investigated, what CAPA means, what CPPs and CQAs are, how pharmaceutical validation works, and how you can build a career in pharmaceutical manufacturing. I'll also share information about pharmaceutical careers in the United States. If you're an international pharmacist or pharmaceutical professional trying to understand the U.S. pharmaceutical industry, I'll share lessons from my own professional journey and explain what I've learned along the way. My goal is to make the pharmaceutical industry easier to understand and easier to enter.
So if you're interested in pharmaceutical manufacturing, GMP, sterile and aseptic processing, pharmaceutical careers, or the U.S. pharmaceutical industry, you're in the right place. Subscribe to the channel because this is just the beginning. In the next video, we're going inside one of the most important areas of sterile manufacturing, aseptic filling. I'll explain what it is, why it's so important, and what can go wrong if critical controls aren't maintained. I'm Ekerma Javeed. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.